chapters. And, well, you only had 2 chapters, so now you only got 6 questions. Okay? Okay, we'll dismiss our youth Bible study groups. Two chapters and only 6 questions. We thank the Lord for our Facebook family and YouTube family joining us in our Bible study. We're in the process of reading through the Bible. We're in our process of reading through the Bible. We have read all the way through the entire New Testament. We started in the Old Testament in Genesis, and now we are completing the last 2 chapters in 2 Kings. And next week we will start in the book of Chronicles. And when we get into the book of Chronicles, we'll see a lot of things that we've already looked at, that we've already read in the book of Kings will be in Chronicles. So you'll be familiar with what you read in Chronicles because you've already read part of it in Kings. And I think Chronicles covers some things that Kings did not cover. But the book of Chronicles is about the kings of Israel and the kings of Judah, just like 1st and 2nd Kings. They just talk about the same people. They just give different detail. And some of it is the same detail that you have already read. All right. Everybody's got a copy. I got 1 copy left. Okay. Do anybody need a pen or pencil for writing? Would you take one back to Ursula? Thank you, sir. I got my granddaughter in here tonight. I guess that's her little behind that mask back there. All right. Love you, Cole. All right. Did I get somebody to answer sheet? No, I got it right here. All right. 2 Kings chapters 24 and 25. There was some really good reading in those chapters. Question number 1. The Lord sent bands of armies against Judah to destroy it. The Lord sent bands of armies against Judah to destroy it. Number 2. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, carried away all the mighty men and princes captive to Babylon. Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, carried away all the mighty men and princes captive to Babylon. Number 3. Now I need to explain this on number 3, so maybe we won't have the controversy afterward. All right, I'm going to read the question and then I'm going to have to explain it, okay? It says, the king of Babylon made his father's brother king of Judah and changed his name to Zedekiah. Now, when I say his, then it's kind of ambiguous as to who it is talking about. So the question is not talking about Nebuchadnezzar's father's brother. It's talking about the king of Judah's father's brother. In other words, it's not talking about Nebuchadnezzar's uncle. It's talking about Zedekiah's uncle. So the question is, the king of Babylon made Zedekiah's father's brother king of Judah and changed his name to Zedekiah. Okay, now do anybody have any questions about that one before we say? Okay, Sister Owens. Right. So what I'm saying is this is not talking about Nebuchadnezzar's uncle. The question is about Zedekiah's uncle. But since it got his on there, it's kind of ambiguous as to who his is. So we're not talking about Nebuchadnezzar's uncle. We're talking about Zedekiah's uncle. True. Okay. All right. Okay. So I could have just said, read it like this, that Nebuchadnezzar made Zedekiah's uncle king instead of Zedekiah. King instead of the king of Judah. That's not a really good question. It's got a little bit of confusion in there. We'll see how y'all respond to it. All right, that might be one we might have to just be merciful on and just skip the whole thing. Okay. All right, number 4. The Chaldees. Now y'all know that we were using the King James Version, right? So when you look at, I also like to read the NLT. And I know some of y'all probably read the NIV and other things. And so in the King James Version, it used the word Chaldees. And in the NLT, it just said Babylon. So, but the question comes from the King James Version. All right. So it says Chaldees. The Chaldees killed the sons of Zedekiah and put out his eyes. The Chaldees killed the sons of Zedekiah and put out his eyes. Number 4. The servants of the king of Babylon came to Jerusalem and burned the king's house and all the houses of the great men, but they would not burn the house of the Lord. The servants of the kings of Babylon came to Jerusalem and burned the king's house and all the houses of the great men, but they would not burn the house of the Lord. Number 6, Jehoiakim, king of Judah, was released from his Babylonian prison and given a daily allowance by the king all the days of his life. Jehoiakim, king of Judah, was released from his Babylon prison and given a daily allowance by the king all the days of his life. All right, let's trade papers with somebody. Okay. Now, it was on the 6th question, but I'm not going to say this was easy this time. Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Or food, whatever the case. Yeah. All right. All right. Number 1. The Lord sent bands of armies against Judah to destroy it. True or false? That is true. The God said just like he got Israel out of his sight, he was frustrated with Judah, and he said that he was going to get Judah out of his sight also. They had practiced sin so long that God's anger would not be pacified. We know you had Josiah, and Josiah was a good king. Josiah honored God all the days of his life. But after all of that, because of all of the sins that what was going on, Mattaniah, who was king before Josiah, the Bible said that he provoked God and he led Judah to sin more than probably all the other kings before him. And God was so upset with Judah because of what Mattaniah had done that even all the good things that Josiah did not satisfy God. God was still angry. So when Josiah died and his son came on the scene and his son was wicked, his son did those things that were not pleasing in the sight of the Lord, And so the Lord had his determination he was going to get rid of the nation of Judah. And Judah, let me ask y'all this, so see how well y'all remember. What country came in and destroyed Israel, the 10 tribes of Israel? The Assyrians. All right, Sister Anderson, I would give you a point for that, but we're not doing that. The Assyrians came in and took away all the people out of Israel. They were in Samaria, took all the people out that had any kind of impact, all the important people, and they would put them in other nations, scattered them in other nations, so that they could not come together and become a nation ever again. So even now, nobody, well, I won't say nobody, but basically they are referred to as the 10 lost tribes of Israel because they were scattered abroad among other nations. And then the Assyrians brought people from other nations into Samaria so that Samaria would not be recognized as an Israel nation. So now the thing is happening, because they continue to sin. Every king that Israel had were wicked. Every one of them. There was never a righteous king among those 10 tribes after they separated. After Jeroboam took those 10 tribes and went over and set up their headquarters in Samaria, they never had a good king the whole time. God would send prophet after prophet. When we get to the Chronicles and we get to the prophets, you will see where God sent prophet after prophet to them, trying to get them to turn back to God, but they refused to turn back to God. So finally God got tired of the mess. Now, y'all might think that God is just like a little teddy bear, but he's not. And when his anger, I thank God for Jesus, because if it had not been for Jesus, every one of us would be messed up. Every one of us would be in bad shape if it wasn't for Jesus. So I thank God for it. Okay, so the answer to number 1 is true. Number 2, Nebuchadnezzar, king of Babylon, carried away all the mighty men and princes captive to Babylon. Is that true or false? True. That is true. Did the same thing like the Assyrians did. The only thing is, it didn't say that they sent other people from other nations into Judah, but they took all the people of wealth, all the people of influence, and they just left the poor people. Yeah, they left them so they could work in the fields. But did you notice one thing? Even though they took all of the important people out of the city, all of the men of war, they still left Jerusalem as a nation. Did y'all notice that? They didn't take away their identity like they did over in Samaria. At least that's to start with, Babylon. Because what he did was, all right, let's look at number 3 here, and I'll kind of explain that. Number 3 says, the king of Babylon, which was Nebuchadnezzar, made the brother made, let me go back. Who was the king at that time? Who was the king? Zedekiah? Okay. Yeah, I think this. Okay, I believe. Who? Jehoiachin. Okay. Yeah. Okay. Jehoiachin was the king whenever Nebuchadnezzar went in, and then the question is, did Nebuchadnezzar make Jehoiachin's uncle king in his place? So, the answer is it true or false? True. It is true. I don't say that one so many times, everybody ought to know that one was true. All right? Okay, because what happened was after Jehoiachin was captured and sent to Babylon, they still let Israel remain a nation, and they put Jehoiachin's uncle in the position of our king. So Israel still had a king. Not Israel, but Judah. They still had a king, and they still had a kingdom. But it was somebody that the king of Babylon put in there. And so he was supposed to be like a puppet to Nebuchadnezzar. So Nebuchadnezzar was supposed to control Israel, control Judah through the king that he appointed. Okay, is that kind of? Go ahead. Okay. Okay, all right. I might have made it more confused than I was just trying to clear it up. But we'll just cancel that one, okay? That number 3. But I want to explain it anyway. Because what happened was when he captured Jehoiakim and carried him into Babylon, he took Jehoiakim's uncle and made him king over Judah. So Judah still had a kingdom, but it was a puppet kingdom, supposed to be. But see, after Jehoiakim's, what he did, he changed his name to Zedekiah. Whenever, do y'all remember reading in the book of Daniel? Daniel was one of the captives that was in Jerusalem when Babylon took it over. Daniel was one of those prominent people that was carried away from Jerusalem into Babylon. And there were 3 other guys that was carried too. Do y'all remember what their name was? All right. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, and Daniel. They were among those that were carried away. But now, when they got them to Babylon, they changed their name. See, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was not their Hebrew name. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego was the name that the king of Babylon gave them. Just like he changed Zedekiah, changed and made the king's name Zedekiah. He changed the name. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego had Hebrew names. They changed Daniel's name too, but Daniel's name didn't stick. He was still called Daniel. He didn't keep that Hebrew name. That Babylonian name. So they were among the ones. That's why it's so important that you know the history. That's why this Old Testament is important, so you can connect the dots and understand what's going on. Because the Old Testament is the foundation for the New Testament. It's just like if you build a house and you ain't got no foundation, it don't take much to blow it over. And so the Old Testament is the foundation for the New Testament. So you need to know the Old Testament so you can learn the principles of the New Testament. Even though there are 2 different covenants, they are 2 different covenants, but they involve the same God. The same God that was over Israel with the Old Testament covenant, the Hebrew people, is the same God that's over the church. So he made a covenant with the descendants of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and they did not fulfill their covenant. You see what he did with them? He got them out of his sight, but that does not mean that God has cast them away altogether. Because if you go to the New Testament and you look at the 11th chapter of Romans, Apostle Paul talks about how they were cut off for a while. See, they were not permanently cut off. He said they were cut off. He gave an illustration like an olive tree. And they were cut off, like some of the branches were cut off of the original olive tree. And we as Gentiles were grafted in. The church were grafted in on their olive tree. So some of them were cut off, but they were not totally annihilated from God. And the one way you can know that for sure is when you go back to Revelations, you'll see that when they start numbering the people in Revelations, they named what? Of the children of Israel. What did they do when they started? You know, there was a number that no man could number. And we believe that was probably with the church and the rest of the world. But there was another number. 144,000. And that 144,000 was what? 12,000 from each of the 12 tribes of Israel. So wherever they are scattered, God is going to bring them back for that end time. Okay. Number 3 was whenever I said the king of Babylon, which was Nebuchadnezzar, made his uncle. So when I say made his uncle, it made it sound like it might have been talking about Nebuchadnezzar's uncle. But we're not talking about Nebuchadnezzar's uncle. We're talking about Zedekiah's uncle. Not Zedekiah's uncle, Jehoiachin's uncle. And then God changed his name to Zedekiah. Okay, ma'am.
Are you giving number 3 either way?
We'll just omit that one altogether. So whatever you got on that one, we'll just let that one go. Now I know the one that y'all got it right and say, well, I don't know. Well, it ain't gonna hurt you. You know. It ain't gonna hurt. Yeah, it ain't gonna hurt you. And it was kind of confusing the way I wrote the question. Okay. All right. Number 4. The Chaldees killed the sons of Zedekiah and put out his eyes. True or false? That is true. They waited until they killed the man's children, made him watch them kill his children, and then put his eyes out. There were some cruel people back then. Okay, number 5. The servants of the king of Babylon came to Jerusalem and burned the king's house and all the houses of the great men, but they would not burn the house of God. True or false? False. That is false. They burned everything. They burned the house of God also. Get your mic so I can see. She got one.
I said, isn't this going into when they were talking about the brass, like they were taking the silver and the gold and they couldn't weigh it or something? Is this the verse going into that or no? Yep.
Well, what they did now, this didn't happen at that particular time.
Okay. Because
what happened was whenever he made Zedekiah, when he made the uncle, when he made him king, he was supposed to be like a puppet and pay tribute to the king of Babylon. He did that for about 3 years, and then he rebelled against the king of Babylon. And then when they finally did go back this time, that's whenever they took all the brass and stuff. See, all the things that were made for the temple were made out of like brass and gold and things like that. And so what they did, they broke them down. They didn't want the utensils. They just wanted what it was made out of. So that second time they did it, they totally destroyed everything. Okay? So the answer to number 5 is false. Number 6, Jehoiachin, king of Judah. Now Jehoiachin was the king whenever Nebuchadnezzar went in the first time and took him. Jehoiachin, king of Judah, was released from his Babylon prison and given a daily allowance by the king all the days of his life. True or false? True. That is true. That is true. When another king, after Nebuchadnezzar died, another king of Babylon rose up. And, ma'am, that the name of that, let's see. Jehoiachin. Okay, yeah. Now Jehoiachin was the one that was the king of Babylon, king of Judah, whenever Nebuchadnezzar went in there the first time and took it. And so he put him in prison. But now Nebuchadnezzar died, and another king rose up, and he let him out of prison. And then he not only let him out of prison, but he set him up in a position, and he ate food at his table as long as he lived. He found favor with that second king. Okay, how do you spell it? Yeah, it start out with evil. Yeah, I don't have it written. I don't have it right here in front of me. Do y'all have that up there? Well, they don't. Okay, yeah. It's the one, the verse before that. Do y'all have that? The name, the king that took Nebuchadnezzar's place. Okay, 27. Verse 27 in chapter 25. Yeah, chapter 20. That sounds good to me. Yeah, I know his first name. The first part of his name was Evil. Yeah. So I probably would not know how to pronounce it. Yeah, evil Merodach or something. Merodach. It's got that hyphen for evil. Anyway, that was a new king of Babylon after Hezekiah died. Now, when we get over into the book of Chronicles, you will get more detail than what they have in these books. All right. Now the question. Who got them all right? Oh, what you say? All right. All right. All right. All right. Where is Brother Jenkins when you need him, man? Let me see. Let me find wait a minute, I got to find my sheet here. And by the way, after this month, we'll start all over again. Well, I don't know what I did with my paper here. What's that? Okay. Okay. Brother Owens. Brother Owens, it's hard for me to find your name on here. You know, don't you? Okay. I know it's on here. I know you. Okay, I know it's on. Okay, I just got Brother Frank. That's what it is. Okay. All right, Brother Frank. Okay, sisters. All right. Did he cop off of you? All right. Sister Owens have 13. All right. Lorraine, you got them all right? You sitting close to them. Did you copy too? Okay, on this side. Okay. All right, she showed up tonight. Okay. All right, Sister Tanisha. Lakeisha. That give Lakeisha 4. All right, who else? Let me get, okay. All right, Van got them all right. You go ahead, Van. The Lord already told you, didn't he? Okay, and Sister Sherry. Is your name already on here, Sister Sherry? You might. Let me see. Okay. I don't see it, but it's on there now. All right, who else on this side? Okay, I got all on this side. I got Van. Yeah, I got Van. Okay, over here. Is Sister Sally G got your hand up?
Yes, sir.
You know,
I on the board. I want continuously scrolling.
okay. okay. Y'all together. okay. All right. Sister Bridget, that gives Sister Bridget 6. All right. Who else on this side got them all right? Alex, you go, my man. Yeah, let me see. I got to find Alex's name. Alex's name, the first one on the list. All right. That made 3. That's hey. It's yeah. All right. Okay. Sister Anderson. First Lady Anderson got 9. All right. Brother Mark. That's the first one. Ain't no need of me. Ain't no need of me trying to find it down here. It ain't on there. Okay. Who else? Sister Jen. Okay. Sister Janie. They get her 10. Minister Vandella. All right, that gives Sister Vandella 15, 16, 17. Who we got? All right. All right. Sister Minnie too? Okay. Okay. Sister. Who did y'all tell me? Okay, I got Nakisha. Sister Lisa Murphy, they give her 9. Who else? Sister Minnie. Okay, I know Sister Minnie's name is on here. Yeah, she's on here. I need to find me another order so I can put it. Yeah, Sister Minnie got 5. Okay, did I get everybody? How many only got 1 wrong? Oh man, look at which one you got? Number 2. Number 5. Number 5. Number 3. Okay, number 3 don't count now. You got everything except for number 3. Okay, if you got everything except for number 3, you get a point for that. That was Sister Tanae. Was that your first time? No, Sister Tanae got 5. Okay. Well, I guess we might need to give everybody a point for participation there. Okay. 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 Who else only got 1 wrong? Brother Sells, which one? Number 4. Number 6. 6. Wait a minute now, Van, your hand said you had all of them right. Oh, okay, all right. Okay, Brother McGowder. Number 5. So number 5 and number 6 and number 4. Well, we didn't have everybody get the same one wrong, so we don't, that worked. Okay, all right. Okay, so now next week, we back from 1 to 5. We get back in order. And after June, when we start off in July, everybody start off fresh with the second half of the year. So that means, as it is apparent right now that for this 6 months, that Sister Vandella will be our champion. We'll give some kind of a gift certificate or some cash money or something. We'll give something as a reward. Okay. All right. Do anybody have anything that got your attention that you want to share with us out of those? We got about 5 more minutes. Anything that you read that you want to bring to our attention? Because it was really good. Okay. Okay. Okay, what you got on your notes? Sister Smiley is admittedly what they call over on the west side of Georgia a Geechee. Yeah. she admit that's a part of her heritage. Okay.
Question. I have a question.
Yes,
Is this the same Nebuchadnezzar that we with Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego? Is this the same one?
Yes.
And will we read about him?
Yes.
Okay.
You will be reading about him in the book of Chronicles also. See, a lot of these names that you see in 1st and 2nd Kings, you're going to see them again in Chronicles. And Chronicles gives some more detail. Do y'all remember when you were reading in the book of Kings, when you got to the end of the chapter about a particular king, it say, and the rest of the story is written in the Chronicles of the Kings of Israel. So that's what we're going to need. That's what we're going to do. We're going to go to that. Because see, the book of Kings refers to the book of Chronicles. So, yeah, that's good. And I have it written in my notes about Nebuchadnezzar made, his name was Mattaniah, who was the uncle of Jehoiachin, king of Judah, and he changed his name to Zedekiah. So he made him to be king over Judah. Instead of him just annihilating the nation like they did with Israel, he allowed them to still be a nation. But what he did after, it says, after 9 years of reign, Zedekiah, who was the uncle that Nebuchadnezzar made king, he rebelled against Babylon. And the king of Babylon kept it under siege for 2 years. See, I remember when y'all read in the book of, when you read in the Psalms, it talks about how Jerusalem was a city that was set upon a hill, which means it was difficult to attack Jerusalem. And so even though they had attacked them and had driven out all the prominent people, they had 2 years that they remained as a nation, and then they rebelled against Nebuchadnezzar. And when Nebuchadnezzar went back up there, it took him 2 whole years to penetrate the walls of Jerusalem. And what they had to do, they had to starve them out. They wouldn't let nobody go in, and they wouldn't let nothing come out. And with nothing going in and nothing coming out, they began to starve. And so since they began to starve, that's how they couldn't just go in there and tear down the walls, because they had not broken down the walls at that time. And they could not go in and just capture them. But they locked them up so they couldn't go out. They couldn't get provisions and everything. And because they were hungry, the king and some of his men tried to escape during the night through a crack in the wall. And they got caught. And when they got caught, that's whenever the king of Babylon was angry with him. he took him and his wives and his concubines and all the people that were there, and he killed he made him watch while they killed his sons, and then he put his eyes out. And after they put his eyes out, then they carried him to prison. No, that's right. He couldn't see, but he had his anger, that Nebuchadnezzar's anger had risen up against him because he wanted him to suffer. Because he said, I'm the one made you king. You wasn't even supposed to be king. You wasn't in line to be king. But I made you king. And then you rebelled against me.
It was fulfilling prophecy. I think either Ezekiel or Isaiah, one of them had already prophesied that was going to happen to Zedekiah. And so to me, it was fulfilling prophecy.
So when you start reading over it, all of it kind of connect together. When you start, and what really amazed me was Josiah. Y'all remember about Josiah, the king that was a good king in Babylon? I mean, yeah. And he was a prophet, prophesied 300 years before he was born, and said he was going to come and destroy all of those temples and things like that. 300 years, and called them by name. Said a king named Josiah is going to rise up, and he's going to destroy all these temples and things that you all are doing. And that's exactly what he did. I don't know why people don't understand the authenticity of the Bible, because God can see everything. And just like right now, when you read over in the book of Revelation, there's a lot of things that's yet to happen, and God has already said it. It's going to happen, and it will happen. Just like that prophecy came forth, it's going to happen. And if you all have time, I strongly suggest that you go to Bishop Swenson's discipleship class. He's teaching on end-time prophecy right now. And I don't know anybody, because I've never seen anybody, that break down the scriptures the way that he does, talking about end-time prophecy. And it make you know you need to keep your eyes open, because it makes it plain. In the book of Revelation, it talks about the dragon, and the dragon wanting to devour the woman's child when it came. And he breaks it out that the dragon is the devil. It talks about that. And the woman in this scripture was talking about Israel. It's kind of hard to understand because it does not operate chronologically. There are some things that's written, and then later on there's some other things that's written that's way ahead or way behind, but it all come together, and he does a good job. So I recommend that if you have time to go there and watch and listen to that discipleship class. All right, do anybody have any other questions or comments? Van? Okay, so you saying you did miss one? Is that what you're saying? Oh, okay. All right. Well, you came close. You did good. And as long as you read, that's what counts. Anyway, and thank you for being honest. All right. If nobody have anything else, Sister Anderson.
Saturday we have fellowship breakfast. And also Saturday, Pastor is the speaker for BLBI commencement, which is at 12 noon at the upper room. So it will be great to see everyone faces there. To support BLBI and also to support Pastor.
Yeah, y'all pray for y'all pastor, because your pastor been doing a lot lately, going out. Yeah, so pray for him. I'm not 65 years old anymore. All right. Thank you for those on Facebook and what's the other one? And you too for joining us. Be steadfast, unmovable, always abounding in the work of the Lord. For as much as you know your labor is not in vain in the Lord. Thank you for joining us. All right. Do y'all have anything